beautiful day. It's such a beautiful day in the neighborhood. The sun is shining, flowers are blossoming, snotty little kids waking up their parents. It's such a beautiful day. It's such a beautiful day. It's such a beautiful day in the neighborhood. The birds are chirping, lawnmowers cutting, barbecue burning, dead animals. It's such a beautiful day. It's such a beautiful day. It's such a bitchin' day. It's such a wonderful day. It's such a beautiful day. It's such a gorgeous day. It's such a happy day. It's such a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful day. It has cooled down a little bit. I'm in my hoodie, but I still can't say that it's cold. The sun is out. It's probably the low 70s.
And it's Wednesday. It's our short show.
Yes.
It's Whiskey Wednesday. We'll be here maybe half hour, a little longer than that, but we'll be able to bring you the news in that amount of time.
It's a big day though. I mean, there's really only one thing to talk about today anyway. I mean, then we usually stick to the same topic, but as far as an actual story related to the topic, there's only really one thing going on, which is the public impeachment proceedings, the televised ones, where both sides get to ask questions, even though their side has a lawyer, like they did last time with Christine Ford, because they can't be trusted to open their mouths in legal proceedings. But anyway.
So I caught the beginning of it, and they let the spokesperson for the Republicans, Nunes, man, and this guy, he just went off. Everybody else really professional, talking about facts, you know. This guy just going off on attacks on the Democrats, talked about this is a sham, just like their sham Russia investigation, which, I'm sorry, wasn't that the FBI? Yeah. The Democrats had no power whatsoever then to drive any kind
I don't even think he's bringing, using that as an example, is just saying this is a sham against Trump, that was a sham against Trump. I don't think he's...
No. He went further and he said that, you were going to have all this stuff that was going to come out, all these bombshells, and you got nothing. No, there was... we got a bunch of people in prison that were working for or at the behest of Trump. We got another guy on trial now. We've got the FBI saying that if Trump was not the sitting president, he could be indicted.
Which is a bullshit rule to begin with. Yeah. It's like what? So, if he does go to Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody in the face, it's all good? Actually, the NYPD said, no, we'll arrest him. But still, really? Yeah. Who cares that he's a sitting president? Who cares? That what? Does that mean they can't commit crimes? But anyway, that David I don't even know how to... Is it Nunes, whatever. He is a boil on the state of California. That guy is actually from California. He represents California in the House of Representatives. I don't even know what district. Either somewhere in the south or somewhere in the east. But yeah, he's a piece of crap.
And so I heard the opening statements of Kent and Tailor, caught some of the questioning later. Yeah, the Republicans, they just have a lawyer asking all the questions, which is great because, for them, because they seem very unprofessional and unhinged. All of them. It's like, we say this about Trump all the time, but now I think the entire GOP is just unhinged and angry.
Because they're trying to defend indefensible behavior. You know, it's like, what are they supposed? That's why Sean Spicer started doing all that crazy stuff, like hiding in the bushes and all this stuff, because he was tasked with, you know, taking something that's totally insane and not normal and trying to make it normal, and you can only go so far. So that's why they all sound crazy, because they're tasked with this job of making him sound rational. And how do you do that? You don't do that. You can't do that.
No, you just, all you can do is yell. And that's what they do. They're just yelling. Like, this guy was just very agitated, and everybody else just very professional. And I caught the whole opening statement of Tailor, the ambassador to Ukraine. And, you know, we talked about this before. You know, he kept very good notes, but I never got to hear him speak. I mean, just articulate as fuck.
That was the gnarly note keeper.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, he had notes of everything that he did, everything that anybody in his staff did, who said what.
Did you have a calendar with Squee and PJ?
Yeah, it's all in a little calendar with Squee and PJ and what's that, rapist Ralph?
Day rape Greg?
Greg?
Oh, gang rape Greg.
Greg, that's what it was. Yeah.
Gangbang Greg. Gangbang Greg and date rape Dave, which, you know, obviously those topics aren't funny, but so go on.
Oh, my goodness.
He kept records, and you know, he had notes on everything that as it happened at the time. I mean, the guy's a pro. He's not some like stupid billionaire TV host that all of a sudden the idiots in the red states elected to the presidency. Like, he's a career politician.
He is, and he was appointed by Bush, and he worked under Obama as well.
That's the thing. He was appointed by Bush. He's not like, you know, an Obama guy or a Clinton guy or anything, and that's probably why they haven't tried to drag him down, is because there's that reality that he was appointed by Bush.
Well, and like he said, he operates his job in a nonpartisan way, you know, like they're all supposed to. And that was part of his problem with this, is that they were getting into some partisan politics on one particular side, doing this kind of thing. But first of all, he's the ambassador to Ukraine, and he really comes off in the beginning very concerned about Ukraine. He's visited the front line. He talks about, you know, how many have died in the war, how the war continues, but somehow I don't even see it on the BBC or anything.
From Ukraine, and I don't know anything about what's going on right now.
There's apparently troops on each side of this damaged bridge, and the people on the Ukrainian side, well, they get sniped all the time. There's snipers over there just picking people off all the fucking time, and they really needed the aid. In addition to the aid, there was training, advisors. We're doing the same thing we did in the Cold War. We got a whole bunch of Americans over there helping out. We only hear about the dollar figure that was held up. All of that was held up. The training, the advisors, everything.
The thing is, ultimately, when you boil it down to its basics, Trump doesn't really care to protect Ukraine from his buddy Putin. It's like, if you really sit down and think about it, it's like we're giving arms and training to people who are fighting against Trump's friend Putin. Like, how do you think that's going to end up? How do you think that's going to go down? I mean, that's the bottom line. It's like he can agree to giving him aid, but, you know, in his heart, he doesn't care. He's like arming people against his buddy. How do you think that's going to work out?
Well, and Nunes, in his opening statements, he brought up the debunked Ukrainian meddling in the 2016 election fucking theory.
Tried to, like, how they think Biden did the quid pro quo, even though, like, the entire world voted to get rid of this guy.
Yeah, no, the Ukraine hacking our elections.
Oh,
that
I can't even.
Russia didn't do it because that would benefit Trump.
Well, I told you about it. You know, as up as I am on the news, my brain would not allow this reality. I just read about it like a week or two ago, and I think I told you, Mike, the main thing is they're trying to spin this narrative that Ukraine was behind the 2016 election hack, and they're framing Russia, and that Russia had nothing to do with it. And I was like, what in God's name is this? That's how they're spinning it now.
When all of the evidence that came out of that, that pointless Democrat-led FBI investigation was that we were hacked by Russia. We were hacked by Russia, and specifically that the hack was to support Trump. All of the efforts uncovered by the FBI was to support Trump. Why would they do that? But the thing that they keep saying is the Democrat-led Ukrainian interference into the 2016 election, also trying to spin it as, the Democrats were hacking the election, even though no hacks supporting Hillary Clinton have been found.
The election in Trump's favor, that makes so much sense.
Well, no. I think they're trying to spin it that they were hacking it in the Democrats' favor.
But somehow they failed?
Weren't as good as Russia, I guess.
Oh, God.
But yeah, so in his opening statement...
Okay, so if he believes that the Democrats were hacking the election in the Ukraine was hacking the election in the Democrats' favor, why would he give Ukraine... That's why he wasn't in a hurry to give him any aid. Even though Congress voted for it, he was like, why would I help the people that try to help my enemy?
I think Tailor specifically said in his comments today that Trump made some statements he doesn't really like Ukraine. And he didn't care about Ukraine. That came out specifically. He only cared about the Biden investigation. And this Tailor really cares about the safety of Ukraine.
Right. And one of Taylor's aides was... witnessed a phone call after that phone call on July 25th that we're all talking about between Trump and the president of Ukraine. There was a meeting the next day with Gordon Sunland and his... I'm sorry, Gordon Sunland wasn't there, but his aides were there, and somebody else was there. And so, anyway, I'm doing a bad job. But anyway, they called Trump. And the first thing that Trump wanted to know was the status of the investigation. And so Bill Tailor... Gordon... I keep confusing Bill Tailor and Gordon Sunland. Bill Taylor's aide was there, and Gordon Sunland was there. Gordon Sunland called Trump, and the first thing Trump said was, what's the status of the investigation? So Bill Tailor asked his aide after that call. He said, so what did he talk about? What happened with that call and stuff? And his aide said Trump was only concerned about the investigation. He didn't even want to talk about the aid.
And Tailor...
Sorry, I made that.
Yeah. It's hard not to be confusing. So Tailor spent a lot of time laying out this thing, that with regard to Ukraine and other foreign policies, there was an official channel and then an unofficial channel. And over here in the unofficial channel, we've got Rudy Giuliani doing all the work.
Yeah, Rudy Giuliani played a very substantial role in this whole thing that nobody knew about. And it's
Rudy Giuliani has issues with Burisma. He had business conflicts with...
And that female ambassador to the Ukraine, God, what's her name? Marie Yovanovitch? Yeah. And
this unofficial channel operated without transcripts, without people listening in on phone calls. It seemed like Sunland was working behind the scenes to cover shit up. Sunland's the guy that came and testified, and then it turned out, he lied, and he had to backtrack, and then he had to tell the truth. And Trump still doesn't acknowledge that he told the truth, that, there absolutely was extortion. He still says there was no quid pro quo, and even though the guy said, I believe it was a quid pro quo. Now, Tailor lays out specifically many instances where it absolutely was extortion and absolutely what had to get out of it. Ambassadors were told, I think it was Sunland, was told to tell the Ukrainian ambassador that he had to make a public statement about an investigation into Biden's role in Burisma. Now, this is the funny fucking part. Of all places, they were setting up this public statement. Where would you expect Trump would want him to make such a statement?
What?
Where would you think, of all places, that Trump would want the president of Ukraine to make a public statement about investigating Biden?
On TV?
Where?
In the United States?
And where?
In the White House?
Jesus fucking Christ, woman.
Why are you
CNN.
Okay.
The fake news. Trump wanted him to go on the fake news. They didn't want him to go on Fox. Want him to go on CNN.
Why didn't he want him to go on Fox?
Don't know.
Because he knows CNN is the main legit news source.
That's why I thought it was funny.
Yeah. Okay. Funny.
And I guess there was movements, or Ukraine actually made movements making it seem like they were going to do that and then didn't do it. And specifically, the president of Ukraine was concerned right away when this stuff come up that they would get mired in U.S. politics. They saw the political aspect of the thing right away, the thing that the Republicans don't want us to see here now. You know, those primitive Ukrainians, man, they saw it right away. I guess they've been extorted before.
Yeah. What more can you say?
I don't know. Well, that's the thing, is that's still going on, so I just don't really know what more we will have to say today.
Have like a
What?
little ticker going across our brains. So
Yeah.
stuff doesn't happen.
Yeah, we'll have to. Well, tomorrow we'll have the rest of the stuff that comes out today to talk about. Today it's been mostly. I watched the lawyer for the Republicans, and he's trying to press the legitimacy of corruption of the Bidens with regard to that oil company that now I can't remember, Burisma. So the lawyer's pushing that too. But it's just, I think we talked about that before. You know, the Republicans demanded to have Hunter Biden testify. It's like, he's not on trial here. You can have a separate trial.
I mean, yeah. If you decide that you would like to investigate anybody for whatever, have a separate investigation. This has zero to do with Hunter Biden. Like, Trump withholding aid has nothing to do with Hunter Biden at all. And the thing that, we were talking about it this morning, Mike, which I just don't understand, is that they are saying that Joe Biden tried to do the quid pro quo to have that the former president at the time get rid of a prosecutor. And they're alleging that the reason Joe Biden wanted to get rid of that prosecutor was so that his son, Hunter Biden, would not be investigated, or that he was being investigated. The reality is, this prosecutor that he wanted ousted was not investigating Hunter Biden. And in fact, when he was removed and replaced with a new Ukrainian prosecutor, that one did investigate Hunter Biden and didn't find anything. So what they're alleging, like the reason that Joe Biden was doing this non-existent quid pro quo, doesn't make any sense. Why would he want to get rid of the guy who wasn't investigating his son if his son was doing shady stuff? It makes zero sense. And anybody who even remotely wants to investigate this can see that.
And if Barr from the DOJ could find any possible way to spin this, he would investigate. He would have started an investigation. Trump would have called for an investigation. I don't even think he's called him. But he would do it if there was a shred of it looking real. I mean, he's not a total idiot. Like when Trump wanted him to go go on the air and have a news conference announcing that Trump didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do it because he knew he couldn't spin it. He's not a total fucking idiot, and he knows he's under intense scrutiny.
And Trump says that he never asked him to do it, but Barr hasn't, gone on record anywhere saying, corroborating that, saying, no, Trump never asked me to have a press conference. He's not saying that. And I saw a reporter bring that up and be like, well, Barr isn't, saying that Barr isn't agreeing with you that you didn't ask him to do a press conference. And Trump goes, quiet. It's like if you checkmate him with something, he just starts screaming to be quiet.
That's always, we get somebody just like yelling like that in an argument, you've hit a nerve. Take your vitamins. This emotional support clown right at me. Oh, Breitbart. Those wacky folk at Breitbart. What are those fascists saying now? Fascist commies.
It just says live updates. First public impeachment hearing. And then the next one says, Jordan grills Tailor. You're their star witness? I don't know who Jordan is, but Tailor is the Bill Tailor that we're talking about.
He's a fucking star witness. He's so articulate.
Yeah. And then it says, Ratcliffe spars with Schiff over questions. Who's Ratcliffe? Is that the lawyer?
I don't know. I remember them. They sparred in the beginning trying to get Biden to testify or trying to get a vote on whether or not Biden should testify. I'm not sure if that was the sparring. I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, that was some sparring, and a bunch of Republicans, got out of order. But there might have been other stuff.
They're so professional here at Breitbart that I clicked on that story, Ratcliffe spars with Schiff over questions, and it's a different story. It's not that story. It's some other story about impeachment.
Those wacky folk at Breitbart.
They hire the best and the brightest over at Breitbart. It says, Kent confirms he reported concerns over Hunter Biden in 2015. Watch live. Tailor, Ukraine president told me call was fine. I was happy with the call. Yeah, he wants his money. Why would he say otherwise? Nunes stumps Tailor on Obama-Russia hot mic moment. GOP stunned after Schiff interrupts impeachment hearing. Let's see what else. Oh, yeah. Oh, here's a funny thing. So Trump is, quote, too busy to watch boring impeachment hearings, and that's what he's saying. And I think his spokesperson, like Stephanie Grisham, said the same thing, that he's too busy to watch. Except he tweeted 10 times when the hearings started. He's like doing like play-by-play commentary. And she said he's working in the Oval Office, and Trump said the same thing. I'm too busy to watch them.
We're gonna have to read those tweets later. This will be fun.
Yeah, we'll get on Twitter and see what he's saying. But okay, Stefanik calls out Schiff in blocking questions about whistleblower, and they use whistleblower in quotes every time. Overheard phone call raises questions about classified info and privilege. Let's see. Dems impeachment lawyer is a former MSNBC pundit, Russia hoax conspiracy theorist. Okay, another time out, immigration and border stuff and how many illegal people killed Americans, and they wouldn't be here if we had closed borders, that whole spin. Let's see. So somebody named Polak said, talking about Adam Schiff's weak opening statement in impeachment inquiry.
He talked about a whole bunch of facts and stuff. It was terrible. It was weak.
And then they have some columnist here at Breitbart named Nolte, and he's saying, as impeachment founders, CNN lashes Mueller for failing to get Trump. Scarborough on impeachment hearings, he says, history is watching. Pelosi says, Trump doesn't understand that he isn't above the law. Joe Biden celebrates Sandy Hook lawsuit against AR-15 maker. Yeah, they some of the Some of the Sandy Hook parents are suing the maker of the AR-15. I think it's Remington, and Remington tried to block it, and so the Supreme Court just ruled that the case needs to go on and that Remington's not allowed to block the lawsuit. So that's basically a anti-NRA ruling by the Supreme Court, which I thought was kind of interesting. But they're just allowing the suit to go on, which has nothing to do with impeachment, but I just wanted to mention that. Let's see. Ruth Bader Ginsburg misses SCOTUS arguments due to stomach bug. Oh, are those the arguments for the, what was I saying?
DACA? Oh, wait.
Remington. I'm talking about the Remington thing. Oh, so that means that they still took our side without her vote. Interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah. I think, some of them have something to prove, even though they're scum. Like, Kavanaugh's not gonna, go overboard on some of his rulings, no matter what he believes, because he's probably trying to be, Mr. Pollyanna and stuff, and not ruling in favor of abortion or anything. I mean, so far the rulings haven't been. I mean, I think. Well, no, there have been some rulings against LGBTQ people that aren't good, but I've been surprised overall that he's not totally being a scumbag. I think he's treading very lightly.
All right, should we go?
Oh my God, I guess we could go.
That's all we have for a short Wednesday. It's a beautiful day. Get out there. Well, unless you're in the Arctic blast, maybe that's not so beautiful.
Why we have to